I'm going to attempt to do a review of AmpliTube. It's going to take a while because there's a lot. On here with AmpliTube. They've been around for many years. They've always been like a bit of a default to lay out tracks that had kind of a Marshall-like sound at the time, and now the quality have skyrocketed, so forth and so on. And they don't have the Marshall logo license anymore for the Slash, which was funny because I was like, where is the Marshall? IK Multimedia is probably one of the most coolest ecosystem. The interface looks fantastic, you know, I mean, when you first boot it up, you see the routing. That's the first thing that's noticeable, right? So at the top you have the menus, the folder. Okay, like I'm used to right-clicking and, you know, finding things and so forth and so on, but it's cool. It's really laid out very nice. You can, you know, get in here and find things really fast. And then you have the rest of the menu where you save or export, and then you go into up here you have, this is the main section, and this is like some sort of looper. Hold on, yeah, some sort of looper. And this is your live section when you have a pedal board, you can interact with the live. And then you have the TONEX button. Now the TONEX connects to TONEX if you have TONEX. I have TONEX, so. Now here you see a lot of weird stuff like these amps. That's because there's pedals and stuff too, but you all of a sudden you see amps, you know, you have to be so quiet. Well, I'll get to that in a second. I'll shut off the live thing, go back to this mode. Okay. It looks for TONEX presets, so I'm going to get out of here and go back here. Okay, we're in the AmpliTube. When you see the orange highlight, that means we're in that menu. And I'm going to go to TONEX menu, and you'll see that if I select pedals, you can see the pedals I selected here. Now, this is just a head, for example. And there would be a head and a boost, no cabs, and there would be a head with cabs and a boost, a head with cabs, so forth and so on. You got bass and guitar. You pick guitar, and you have a lot of this stuff here, which is TONEX. Now when you want to get out of it, let's say you wanted to put this here, you know, if you want to see the stomp box, you have to go hit this X menu, you're back on the board now. So anyway, that's how that works. And basically, you can choose different modules and stuff you have here. This is the TONEX menu. You go back to the menu by clicking this thing. I didn't know about this thing when I first got this. I figured it out later, but anyway. So like I said, you have the AmpliTube, their menus here of pedals, blah, 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 blah. I don't know why this is here because I brought the whole damn thing. Then you have the TONEX, which is here. Besides the pedals, the amps, the cabs, you have post-production stuff. You have a lot of like anything you want, like shimmer, reverbs, and so forth and so on. I have AmpliTube and TONEX Max, both of them. It's really cool. Can get like a cheap MIDI pedalboard, connect to expression pedals, and set it up to control everything, you know. Now, by no means, I'm not saying there's not other software like this, but not all of it comes like this. And in this platform, everything is reacting accurately like real stuff. For example, I have my own pedals on the floor. Push these sims a little bit. I'm going to a very clean Marshall with 10 band EQ now. This amp has a little bit of, I think it's a 2-channel, I can't remember now. Is it a 2-channel? Oh, it's a 2-channel Marshall preamp amp. I can't get between, the preamp and amp to put effects there. Let me show you some of my custom setups, which I'll explore later with all stuff. So, for example, in this setup, you can see that I have 2 amps. One bypasses the front pedals, and the other one goes directly through them. This is an ambient guitar tone that I used. You can see that I picked, a Fender compressor. At the top, I always have a compressor there to make sure my signal is like buffered, sort of like all leveled up. And then I go into all this weird modulation stuff. A lot of people like the modulation stuff, after the preamp, like I said before. This is very important to have this state of mind when you're setting up a tone. But my point here is that it bypasses the shimmer on one amp, so it can be a little more dry, like a parallel track. And then it finally reaches the LA2A. And this, really levels everything. This looks, there's a lot going on here. There's an echo to go on and all that stuff. Let me go to another one right now. It looks identical. And this one, you can load IRs. This one has IRs, okay? Which again, I'm gonna go to another one now. Anyway, tuner, I hit this button, I can start splitting the signal in 3 ways, so forth and so on. 1 amp, 2 amps, 3 amps, you know. So you have these routing options. The thing I'm confused about is like, you cannot really move these cables. Like, I'm not sure if you can do that with Positive Grid or other ones, but in any case, then you have, we'll get to this area here. So we basically covered the menus, and we basically are now at the bottom, which is the MIDI control, the tuner, of course. And I don't know what all this stuff is, you know. But when you get, you can record a track, for example, real quick. Let's say I want to record this track, I'm going to loop it. Okay, now I'm going somewhere. So this is what it does, which is weird, but in fact, let me do this over. Okay, so now you have this loop. You can continue to another preset here if you want. To enable a second track now. So I'm going to record something, I'm going to have the clone on. Nah, that's too much. I'll have this on, okay? And record something. Okay, so I'm back on this track now. I'll shut this off. So my point here is that you can record something, have it loop, and check out some pedals. Maybe you like them on your real board later on. But the point is, you can. This is one thing I found that was kind of nifty about it. You can record up to 8 tracks, and as you go on, you see the transports, very TONEX, I don't have a pedal with me, but supposedly having that is basically the deal with it, okay? So now TONEX, it looks like the menu you saw before in AmpliTube. You don't really need to come here unless you're capturing and stuff like that, or you want to try out stuff. It allows you to also play, you know, and try all these amps out and blah blah. So you have this menu here. You have the menu where you go into the modular, which I don't do because I don't have that. You have the TONEX, you know, on the website. Here you're looking for, you know, amps. If you want to stop in distortion, if you want to select only heads, you just hit this button. It's kind of exactly like what you saw before, but in a different place on the screen, you know. And you say guitar and stuff like that. You know, it'll show up like this. Now, if I just want a pedal, I just shut that off, and all of a sudden pedals will come on, and I'll say, give me high gain. Because if you have good high gain pedals, you can drive any amp, even a clean, whatever. So anyway, you have all these options to go searching for them here, and then once you find them, basically, if you like it, you can, you know, give it a thumbs up, this and that, and you can download it into your rig, and then, you know, it will show up on the right side. See that I have the gold SD1 and the mud honey and two different clones, you know, a silver and a gold. That's not normal, but that's what I have on the floor anyway. Anyway, so from here on, I'm gonna go and take a little journey through a bunch of presets that I made, stuff that, you know, it's just fun to play. I like AmpliTube because they really shine when it comes to, you know, find the tone. But a lot of their sims still feel like captures. And a lot of the TONEX stuff sounds good, but it's like that. If you can't dial in, you know, I mean, it looks like you're dialing in. And it even looks like you can put effects between the power amp and preamp, but at the end of the day, you can't. You might consider this to be an all-around solution for you. I like it. I always recommend you guys have a compressor outside your DAW. Anyway, thanks for watching. While you're here, feel free to check out some of the Electroform jewelry by myself and Mia. We also have an Etsy shop, and go ahead and do all that stuff like subscribe and follow us. We hope to see you again in the future.